Welcome everyone to another exciting session of Aperture 2.0. In today's fast-paced tech world, a strong backend isn't just an option. It's the foundation of every great product. But how do you build a backend that scales effortlessly? That's exactly what we are here to discover. We are honored to have with us Sir Dmytro Grechko, founder and CEO of Deskree, a visionary who is redefining backend development, making it faster, simpler, and more accessible for developers worldwide. Since 2022, Deskree has helped thousands streamline their infrastructure and focus on what really matters. Get ready to unlock expert insights on building scalable backends from one of the best in the industry. Without further ado, let's welcome Sir Dmytro Grechko. And yeah, good morning, sir.
Hey, thank you for having me. I appreciate the introduction. We also have, seen in the audience, we also have our CTO, Marco Castillo. So if you can guys add him as a speaker as well, like I think it will be even more helpful than I am in
Yes,
explaining
yes.
some of the things. But yeah, so yeah, thank you. I think what I would like to begin with is kind of give you guys, all you guys, a background of why we're building the nanoservice framework, why does it matter, and essentially like the plans for us to go with this and how you can guys benefit today from working with something like that. So traditionally, like my background was I was building different software businesses while in Canada and actually internationally as well. I built a sold couple of software companies. And the last company I was running, we're working with Fortune 500 companies, governments, and other institutions on building and helping them make, solve business problems using technology, as I like to call that. The one of the biggest things that we realized at some point was that we're spending more time as a company creating cloud infrastructure, managing scalability, networking infrastructure, and all the other components instead of solving problems for the customers, which didn't make a lot of sense to me at that time because like we're being paid to solve problems, but we're trying to figure out the cloud infra side. So instead of that, what we did is we started building a system that would allow us to spend less time on creating the cloud infrastructure. And basically, right now, the mission of us as a company is to make it completely invisible and completely automated. So one of the things that we tackled first was basically the challenges of managing large microservice-based architecture. Why this is a challenge? So if you look at different different approaches to the software architecture, right? Architecture is how you build software. Infrastructure is where the software lives. So on the architecture standpoint, what we've seen is that basically there's monolithic approach when all your services work together in one environment. There's microservice approach where you divide your monolithic application into independent services based on a business logic of that service. So let's say you're building an e-commerce store, you will have a service for products, users, and checkout. But the big problem is your users, products, and checkout share a lot of the same functional components, like connectivity to a database, making API requests, using certain SDKs, and many, many other things. So not only you're repeating yourself for each and every one of those services, but on top of that, for each and every one of them, you need to set up networking, authentication, CI/CD pipelines, and many, many things. And when you have like 3 or 5 of them, that's not really a big problem. But when you have dozens or hundreds or thousands of them, that becomes a big issue. And the only logical solution to that seems like, hey, let's add more engineers to the team to solve that. But we were able to maintain a 30,000 plus services in production with just a team of 3 people. And the way we did it is through what you guys seen as nanoservice. The underlying idea behind this is super simple. I'll go and explain that. But what I would also like to point out, like me and Marco would like to share some of the things with you that you might get early access if you want to a little bit later on. But I'll get into that in more details. So ultimately, the idea behind nanoservice is that instead of you building from, basically, instead of you dividing services based on the business logic, you divide them based on actual function. So, and the idea is that you're building a collection of small modular units for you that are reusable within your application stack or application layer. And then you can reuse those components to build up your APIs, data pipelines, or other pieces of your logic, and pretty much like Lego blocks. So the entire idea of the architecture approach of nanoservices consists of three important things. You have a trigger, which is something that starts the execution of a series of nodes. Then you have nodes. Nodes is like an independent piece of business logic. Whatever you want that to be, however small or large, it doesn't have to be small, it doesn't have to be large. It's up to you to determine the size of that. But the main foundational piece of the framework is that think about this as a reusable block that you may use in different parts of your application. This block will come with monitoring and observability built in. You don't have to set it up separately. Everything comes pre-built for you. And then the third component is something we'll call a runner, which is basically takes a trigger, takes a series of nodes, and creates data binding between them and allows to execute all of that. So at this point in time, what we're looking for as a framework is we're looking for a cool use case of this technology. And we've seen a lot of it at this point. We've seen people building APIs and data pipelines in the traditional application layer. We've seen now people using that for AI to be able to both like train or retrain models or build like agents for their AI models, which is something we can dive deep a little bit later today as well. And on top of all of that, we also now see people are using this approach to build pretty much like different parts of supercomputers or like hardware devices, such as, for example, Waymo using this to be able to decrease the latency on their sensors and self-driving cars. So there are an array of use cases for this technology. It's pretty wild. But one thing we're always looking for is more use cases and seeing how you guys may have different ideas or different views how this technology can be utilized. The second thing, and this is something we'll be introducing pretty soon, is looking for people to contribute nodes or like contribute different and improve different parts of the application. If I'm not mistaken, Marco has just recently launched multiple runtimes. So you can have one node read in Node.js, the other one Python, and more framework and languages are coming up as well. So if you have ideas of nodes or features that you would like to contribute, you're more than welcome to do it. We have the Discord channel, we have the repository where, if you have ideas, they're more than welcome. And one of the big things that is coming up for us is we'll be introducing a AI feature that will allow you to basically, through prompts, be able to build your workflows from the nodes that you already have. So technically, the way technically going to look like is you're going to have two endpoints. One endpoint to submit your nodes. If you have like 5, 10, 20, 50 of them, doesn't matter. And the second endpoint that will be able to take the nodes, the collection of nodes that you have, and create workflows out of it through basically prompts. So this is the beginning of a series of AI features that we'll be introducing. And this is coming up soon. So if you guys want to get on a short list or be one of the first ones to try it out, let me know. We'd love to have you there. Before I continue with all that, maybe you guys have any questions, and I will also like Marco to say a few words as well. But before that, any questions to me so far? Gotcha. Awesome. Marco, anything you would like to add in terms of why we're doing things and what we're doing in general?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so let's start sharing some small idea about the nanoservice, just more for developer, right? So the idea with the nanoservice that we have in mind is the open source, is to actually validate and test the new experience, because one of the things we have to understand with this new framework that is actually following an architecture approach is like we need to try it. We need to feel what is different, because at the end, a conventional way to develop, let's say, web API is choosing Node.js, Express.js, and the experience you already have there and the documentation you find in internet is very well defined. So, and everyone understand the creation of routers, the creation of middleware, and all that is very well defined. So in nanoservice, that experience is different. So in order to understand very well what is going to be the new approach to create workflows, to create nodes, to create workflow with multiple runtimes, and the benefit you get creating workflow, because when you are solving a problem and you are choosing the right language, this is priceless, because you can continue providing a very good performance for the application side just because you are choosing the right language. And that doesn't mean you are like being the most complex infrastructure sign up, because in nanoservice the infrastructure is simplified and there is many things that we are following. But I think that actually, if we start understanding the 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 components that you need to start using every day, like the workflow, how you create a workflow, what is the actual configuration of the workflow, how you create a node, what is all the different kind of node you can create in multiple language, what is the context, how you are moving the information through all the process, sharing information in the node. This is a just I believe it's gonna be a 30 minutes onboarding, and after that our primary thing is to provide examples for the open source thing. We are focusing providing example because for us, for developer, just looking into examples and with great use cases, we can understand how we can start approaching few things, and it's helping the onboarding too. So we believe that just in a 30-minute, 1 hour onboarding time that you spend on that, you are gonna feel what is the new experience working with nanoservice. So so yeah, I think that you have to try it. This is the first thing. It's an open source. The GitHub is there. We have a CLI, so it is going to be easy to create projects. And we have also the documentation. We have some notes in the same project, so you can understand what we are offering with examples, with the onboarding, and try it. So yeah, this is actually what I could motivate everyone here just to start doing. Is you really want to understand what is the nano service. So yeah, Dmytro.
Yeah, to add up to that. So I'm sure, like most of you, if not all, you guys seen the open source project. So what we're looking for heavily right now, by the way, is we're expanding the team of developer advocates. So if you guys have cool ideas of use cases, or additions to the documentations, guides, maybe you guys want to film videos that or write blog posts that describe like potential use cases for that, we're more than open to work with you in different ways and capacities to help you generate the content, help you answer the questions, and support you in that journey. Because like it's not just about like spreading the word about the technology, but we wholeheartedly believe that we're fighting two things. We want engineers to focus on solving problems and making cool stuff instead of just bothering themselves with different infra components. That's the entire goal of us as the company and of this open source project to begin with. Because we all don't have a lot of time, and that time valuable and has to be used correctly. So that's the overall goal of us as a company. Hence, like any ideas on pursuing that, again, more than welcome. The other thing is we will be launching soon as well the ability for you guys to post your own notes or triggers and things like that. There'll be a separate repository where you'll be able to commit those. So if you have in the meantime those ideas, please go to the repository. You can open up issues, you can open up PRs. I've seen some of you guys fork the repository as well. So all that is more than welcome. And what I'm going to do, you can reach out to me personally at any point in time through Discord or Mark as well. Both with questions, ideas, proposals. Like we're more than open for everything and anything. And just here to support and see what cool stuff you're going to build with that, and taking off from there. Okay, awesome. So, okay, organizers. So what's next coming from here? Yeah, and I'll also send you. Yeah, that's the link to the open source. I'll also send you a link to the official documentation. And yeah, we'll also be featuring. So there's going to be a series of YouTube videos we'll be filming up and publish on YouTube channel. So if you guys have a use case and you guys want to be featured on our YouTube channel, let me know. We can also make that happen. And yeah, we'll also be so for all of you guys looking for a contributor to contribute. We have a contribution guidelines on the repository as well. And what we will be doing is we'll be featuring the contributors, especially the earliest one, to in all the media publications we're doing, and we just don't want like that project all to be about us. So from all you guys who are looking to contribute, we'll be creating a separate contributors community for you guys to participate in, get rewards, and many other things. So yeah. Okay, awesome. So do you guys, for us to continue, do you guys want to see like a live example of like how to use the framework and the application of that Market can guide us through? Awesome.
Yes,
Sounds good.
we wanted to see like how
Awesome.
this works in life.
Okay. So Marco,
Okay.
off you go. The mic is yours. The screen is yours.
Yeah, it's gonna be quick. It's gonna be maybe a 10-minute long. So let's start. I will be sharing my screen now. It's gonna be a full screen. So just confirm if you can see my screen so I can just continue. Okay, what we love is actually coding, and this is easy for us to understand how it's gonna feel this new experience just creating nanoservice. So I will start just taking this command from here. This is a part of the documentation nanoservice that we have available as public. So I will move to the terminal and I will create a project. The first thing is going to happen with the CLI, you have to create a project. Let's assign a simple project name that is going to be with API. I will choose, we have the HTTP trigger available so far. And I will choose, we have two runtimes. So far, the Python runtime is an alpha version we have that is working in Mac OS and Linux. So we didn't try it yet efficiently in Windows, but I will include it here for this presentation. So let's include it. We are including all the detail why this is alpha and what we are solving so far. So also we have the example. Let's say yes. Let's install the example because with the example we can go through all those experience. I will say yes. So what's happening now is we are creating the local project. We are preparing everything. We are creating the virtual environment for Python, and we are installing all the package. So the project is gonna be ready for you to just execute the npm run dev and start playing with example and start playing with the creation of the workflows node or the solution. So let's wait a little bit. It's gonna take some few seconds. So what is important here in the onboarding, I will be sharing the three components that you have to take care in the onboarding, because without the understanding of those components, this actually the context, the workflows, and the nodes, it's gonna be hard to continue working because this is so important. It's so important. So let me just move to the project as usual with any other project. It's like, okay, CD web API. Okay, from now on, let's start as we like. Let's open Visual Studio Code. Okay, so I will explain a few things here. The project is a Node.js project. You can also execute the project using Bone. Actually, we are testing the project a lot with Bone, and we are creating many proofs of concept, use cases. Actually, Bone is working very well. But by default, this project is configured to be using Node.js. So let's start doing this. And the documentation say that we can just execute the npm run dev, and then we are gonna get access to the localhost 400, and we can just open some examples. So this is an example that is there. So let me just go back to the Visual Studio Code so we can continue talking about the components. What is important to understand? Let me show you the components. The first component that is important is the workflow. The workflow is a JSON file that is following some JSON schema that we have defined. So if we open the country, this is the JSON file. You will be able to manage and configure how the node is going to execute, and also in you control the step, what is the order of the execution. This is the first component. How we are helping developer to create those components. Actually, we have another command, just the create workflows. The same is gonna be for the nodes. When you create a node, we have the command create a node. I will be doing all that right now. But so the first one is gonna be workflow. The second one is gonna be the nodes. And then we have the context. This is important. I am including here some nodes. So this is developer node. You can just open in here and you can get a quick start about the concept that we are offering. This is for the creation of the project. We already execute this part. So let's move to context. Context is actually a JSON. It's a JSON object that we actually save some details there. And this context is available in all the nodes across the process, is in memory, and it's gonna be deleted at the end of the process. So the way you are using that, you will get the request, CTS request. You get access to the body, method, header, query, parent. You get access to everything in the request. In the response is actually the response from the previous node, or the nodes that you are saving is there. And the vars is actually part of the, when you execute a node, you can say, okay, I don't need this node to be part of the response node. I need it just in a variable because I will use it later as a variable. So in this example, the context is so important because you will use it in the workflow. This is the way you can configure a node and say, okay, is this node is needing the ID that is coming from the URL params? Okay, this is the way to do it. And this node is gonna get this value. So in the nodes I am sharing here, you get some examples. Also, you get example this data. If you execute this node, and you say this set var true, this response is gonna be saved in the variable, and the variable name is gonna be the name of the node. In this case, is whatever you define is gonna be there, and you get access through the CTX vars, and you get access to the data. So this is the way you get access to everything in terms of the information. So the data is gonna be through the context. So this is so important to understand where you get in the context, okay? In this quick onboarding, I am explaining this because as soon as you start reading and understanding the examples, you will see this kind of information in the examples. You will see the context is there, how we are using the content, how we are passing information through the nodes. It's because the context is giving me that feature. So let's go back to the nodes. Now that we have the actual context, let's see the creation of node. The creation of node is the same. We have a command, create nodes, and the command is giving you the chance to choose what kind of node you want to create. Maybe it's TypeScript, maybe it's Python, or maybe you want to use different type of nodes. Example, we have module. The module and class is something you are using to host or to publish to npm package, or maybe it's going to be a local library. And we include all that because the way we provide those templates simplify the experience. So it's going to be easy. I will be doing that right away, but you get here all the documentation. And Then we got the workflows, and we also explain how to create a workflow. You get the CLI is part of the documentation, and also some examples there how to use it. So let's say I want to create my first workflow. I want to create a workflow just to say the conventional hello world. I love hello world. Everyone love hello world. So let's start with hello world. The first thing I will do, actually, I will stop the development server here, and I will execute the nanoservice-ts create node, because I want to create a simple node just for responding the hello world. So I will create the node, and here it's important to see what is actually happening. The first thing is just assign the name. The name we are assigning is gonna be hello. Now I will choose the type. In this case, it's gonna be the runtime type is TypeScript. I will not use the Python, I will use TypeScript. Then I have some templates that I can use, type module or class. I will use the class is just a file. So I will use it for this example. It's simple to use, just the class. I will keep it in class because we have more templates, and we are including more templates in the future, like a pre-built node that is doing a specific thing. In this case, you can create a node for UI using EGS, React.js, and we configure that for the example. So I will continue with class, and that's it. This is actually in this directory, src nodes hello. So if we follow the documentation here in this node that we have here, let me just go to the create nodes. And it said that after the node is created, just change the class name. Because right now the class name we have is actually node. I will change that to hello. Then the documentation said, okay, open the Node.js and register this new library. So it's gonna be available in the runner. So this is the file, the Node.js. I will include it here. It's gonna be import hello. Okay, that's it. Import hello. And I will assign a name. Okay, this is important. The name I will assign here is actually the name I will use in the workflow. So let's move to the workflow now. Now that I have this created, the only way you have to validate is gonna be working is because you again execute. If there is no error, it's because it's registered and it's part of the available node that you have in the platform. So now let's move to the workflow. So the workflow, I will use this another command is gonna be create workflow. Okay, and the create workflow, I will assign another name. Is gonna be also hello. Now it said the file is here. It's created in the workflow directory, and this is the workflow using the template. I will change a few things here, and I will just say the first step is gonna be the hello node. The node I will use is actually the node I register here. Whatever is the name you choose, this is the name you have to include here. So I will use node, and I will keep it module. Why? Because if we go through the documentation, let me open the create workflow, and we go here to the details. It said the type that we assign is two different types. Module is actually used when you are installing dependency. What that means is like, if you go to package, you see we actually have two nodes that is npm package, API call, and another one called if else. Just for this kind of node, when you are registering the node through this file in the node.ts, the configuration here is gonna be module. It's part of this. For this example, I will not use the local, but the idea with local is that it's gonna be a node more complex because it's actually a package that you can develop with unit tests, and then you publish that to npm package. So the only way you have to test it is using the local. But this is not gonna be part of this example right now. I will keep it simple with module, and then now that we define the step, it's gonna be hello node. It's gonna use the node hello, I will configure that. And the way I configure that is using the name at assign. In this case, hello node is the name, hello node is the name. The inputs is part of the node. You define the input. So you have to define what is going to be the actual type you are going to receive here. So you have to do that. In this case, we have message, but could be it's optional, so could be undefined, doesn't matter. And this is going to be the message we are going to see, hello world from node. So let me go back to here. I am not adding any configuration input in this case, and I will save it. That's it. I will run again the project, and I will go back to here, and I will just change the hello. What I am doing here, this hello I am putting in the URL have to be the name of the workflow file. If you assign hello, you are using hello in the URL. If you are assigning any other name, you are using that name. So this is the way the platform is located in this workflow. So let me just execute it. And I would say hello workflow node. Okay, this is the default message. Let me just make a simple change here in the configuration, and I will pass the message. Okay, so let me assign the message, and I say hello from configuration. Configuration, let me save it. I just changed something there, and let me go back here. I will do this, and now we have a new message. So the important about also the context, just to show you a little bit about context. The context, let's say I include another value here, and I say it's gonna be CTX request query because I am expecting something from the query string. Right now, because this value is not there, it's gonna be undefined. So if we go back here and we print this, it's gonna be undefined. If I assign the name, this is a name, you get the value there. So what I am showing here is actually using the CLI we provide. It's easy just for creation of the node, the workflow, the project. And the only three components you need to understand very well is the context, the workflows, and the nodes. This is the actual thing. Everything is documented locally, so you can go to the website, or you can just use the nodes we are having as reference here. Why? Because we are also including the examples. But this is the part that is actually important. If you are not taking the onboarding and you are not getting the used to the concept of context, workflow, and node, it's gonna be so hard to understand the example. Okay, so I think it's just 5 minute thing. You have to double check, try to feel hello world, and now you understand how everything is connected. So in here, the example we are providing, we have few. One of them is actually using OpenAI to generate dashboards, so you can see how we generate dashboard. We need to configure the OpenAI key. Then we have some example for Postgres. We have example for Mongo. We have example. Also, there is another example that is very interesting. It's actually the example of multiple runtimes. Let me show you the multiple runtime and how that is working. So you can see, I will show you the example. In the multiple runtimes, when you configure the project to accept multiple runtimes, you get this folder here. The folder is actually the Python 3. You already get the environment. It's set it up here. And it's the same thing that you are getting with TypeScript, that you get the folder node. Here you get the folder nodes too. This is the nodes. And this is the node that you are using to register all of it. Right now we have the generate sentiment. Let me open that one. And this is also every time you create a new node using Python runtime, we are providing the template. So the only thing you have to define is actually if you are including some schema, if you are including some, let's say, input, and then your logic. This node is just to execute the text block to get the sentiment of a comment. This example is actually the one I have here is the, let me show you, is the feedback. So this example is actually good because we have two things. We are accepting in the trigger all the methods. So we are not just hard coding get, post, or put. We are saying, okay, this accepted everything. So with the if else, we are managing how we are routing the process. So if the request method is get and there is no function, that means I will display this UI. So how you can start just reading and learning a bit about the example. So take the node name. So the node name is feedback UI. First thing you have to do, go to CRC, open the nodes. In this case, actually it's part of the example. So the example have an index with all those imports. And then we have the feedback UI, that is this folder. So this is the node. What we are doing here is a node following the same template we have for class. And the only thing we are doing is a render of an EGS package. Using the EGS, we are loading an index file. The index file is actually here. I am including index. React is all here. You can use your own approach of achieving this kind of task. But for the example, what you are doing is just loading this. And we are showing actually the UI. So let me just go back to here and let me change the URL to be feedback. Feedback. Okay, this is a simple UI generated using OpenAI. So with ChatGPT, you can generate whatever you want, and this is taken from there. So with this UI, the backend using here is quite different. Let me show you the backend. In the backend, just go back to the feedback workflow, and you see, okay, if this is post, that means you are executing the feedback/create is a post. Now you are executing two different nodes. The first node you are executing is actually a runtime Python. That means you are executing Python logic. Then this is returning to runner and continue with another TypeScript node. In this case, it's simple. The first node is actually generating the sentiment value, and the second one is saving in the memory storage. So how that is executing, if we go to the logic here in the Python example, we are receiving the ID, title, comment. All that is part of the body that we have defined in the application. And then is executed, is returning, is part of the CTS response data, and we are moving that. If we go back here, you can see this is executed, but how we are saving. Okay, we go to the configuration and we say the save is actually collecting the previous response data that is actually returned by the Python node. And this is the way we are connecting that through the CTX. So if we execute the example, just to execute it, we can see here a few things. Let me just go to the inspect. Let me open the network, and I will see this is a demo one, and I will say demo one, whatever. And I say, okay, neutral. So if you see here, this kind of thing, and we execute another one, and we execute another one, and we can continue doing that. Is you see here the cold start, the first cold start to integrate two different runtimes is taking 70 milliseconds. But after the first execution is done, everything else is taking like 10, 15 milliseconds, 20 seconds, and we are running two different languages at the same time. So the workflow is allowing you to execute multiple. So this is important. We are still in an alpha version in the open source side. We are including C# soon the next week. We are including Golang, Rust, because the use case and example we are providing soon is going to be more focused in actually a new way to develop solution. And it's actually, you are choosing the right language to solve a specific task because each language has their own strength. So this is what we are trying to continue. So I think that this is fine. I think this initial just introduction and onboarding is showing you how to use it with the CLI, is showing you how important is the context, workflows, and the nodes, and also the little bit about the Python, but you see actually how useful is to integrate two different runtime in a workflow, and the result is amazing because you are getting the job done by the specific language that is actually solving that specific problem. So yeah, and that's it. That's it. Any question, any concern, just let me know.
Okay, so if anyone has any questions, then they can type in the chat section. Any questions?
Yeah, sure. It's let's go back to this page. I will be just sharing. This is gonna be quick also because actually we are looking for to get some uh, community to be part of contribute to the open source, and everything is actually available in GitHub. Uh, the CLI is there, documentation, runtime, runner, everything is there. And actually, yeah, we are looking for contributor to help us with actually the growing example. There is another kind of feature we have included that I didn't show yet. It's like actually the nano service is built in on top of metrics and is integrated with Prometheus. So everything we are executing is gonna be displayed in Grafana. So all that part I didn't show it. We need Docker and all that to make this kind of sample. But the this is actually what we need. We need people in with multiple skills just to focus in one thing. Doesn't have to be part of everything. Just one thing is gonna help us a lot just to continue with the growing the open source. Yeah. Yeah. Back to you, Dimitri.
Okay, guys, that's like pretty much it in our end. I think we told everything we wanted at this point. So, would love to see you guys as contributors, ideas generators, or just passive supporters, whatever works best for you. And then, as the use cases, reach out to us. We're here to support, answer any questions, and would love you to become part of the journey. So, thank you all for the time, and thank you all for being here.
So if anyone has any questions, they can ask in the chat section. If not, then I would love to give the ending note and yeah, any questions?
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, so I guess no more questions. I would love to end the session with just a short note or a short ending note that I have prepared from our side. So yeah, that was an
Okay, guys,
insightful and
thank you all, and see you around.
yes, I guess we have a question. Debangshu has done.
Yeah, I can answer that question. Actually, the the core platform we have in our commercial site is three different kind of deployment uh, flavors. So let's say the first deployments type we are releasing next week or in a beta period is gonna be a serverless. So actually, the same open source is gonna be deployed as a serverless just to simplify the way you are hosting your solution. The second one we are going to be releasing is gonna happen maybe around 1 month. It's gonna be a virtual machine. The idea is also the same, but with a little bit different flavor because in virtual machine everything is gonna be installed there. It's gonna be there. The only thing you are just deploying is node and workflows. So it's gonna be a little bit, but you can use the virtual machine also to let's say create a Mongo database, Postgre, because maybe you need some infrastructure tool to continue with your deployment and your development. So, and the latest one is gonna be actually the atomic computing. The atomic computing is something is taking longer for us. It's gonna be around 4 months, and actually it's a quite different because each nanoservice is deployed in a container. It's isolated from everything, and there is where the core platform is different. Actually, the experience for you guys as developer, the same node you are creating in Python, C#, Task, it's gonna work in the same platform. The only thing is different in Atomic is actually the trigger, the runner, is few other tools, but not the essence of what we are doing. So far, everything we have in the open source is take in consideration for also the core platform. So yeah.
So I guess the question has been answered. I guess we can end this session today now. So yeah,
Okay.
a massive
Thank you guys. Bye bye.
yes, sir. Thank you, sir. And a massive thank you to those speakers